Laurie Huston's News for the Heart is dedicated to helping you give a voice to your own soul. Our hearts have the power to free us from pain and the struggles that keep us from awakening to our true essence. Join Laurie now as we delve into our heart and soul to find the path that will open us to the possibilities and lead us to the life we love to live.
And good afternoon. This is News for the Heart, and today we are with our awesome co-host, Tracy McBurney. It's been, my goodness, it's been quite the last couple of months, but yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to this show because it's all about heart heals. And I think with everything that's been going on in the world in the last little while, this is exactly where we need to be. So, yay.
Yay.
Grace.
There it is. I'm waiting for that. It's almost like the show doesn't start till I hear that. And my heart opens more fully, and here I am. Well, it's like a magic elixir. Okay, so yeah, you're right. So we were talking a little bit before you turned on all the buttons and we started to talk here. And I was telling you about an amazing day I had in the conference. It was the last day of the conference for the Gregg Braden, Bruce Lipton event that came to Toronto several weeks back. And I bought a ticket for the final day. Like, I bought the give me all of what's going on with the conference by online for the rest of it, but I bought the day of Monday to be present in the room for these two men. Like, I just wanted to do that on that day. And it was the workshop day. So it was the day where we didn't really know what was going on and how that was planned. Anyway, Gregg Braden started the day, and he did something that he's done many times before in conferences that I've been in. So that was not really a surprise to me. He was teaching us again about coherence between head brain and heart brain. And he was using the methodology of HeartMath Institute.org, if anybody wants to look that up. And there's all sorts of free stuff that people can get involved with there. And he's been doing that for like 30 years. So he's just teaching us again the breathing technique of breathing in through the nose. That's important, the nose, for like 4 seconds, count of 4. Breathing out through the mouth for a count of 6, leaving a little bit of space in between. And he's basically saying the important part of the breathing for that relaxation is to make the out breath a little bit longer than the in breath. And then what I would say if I were teaching a class in this, I'd say, well, just make sure you don't make it too long after the out breath because you don't want to depress the brain. And it was an interesting thing that I learned. Like, sure, we can do this. Lots of people where you breathe in for 4 and then you breathe out. For 20. But you do that, apparently you do that more than a few times. Not only do you start to get really lightheaded, but you can depress the brain. You can actually depress yourself. So I thought that was he didn't mention it, but I'm literally saying it out loud. Okay. So though kids like to do it, look what I can do. Yeah. And they do, right? Look what I can do with my breath. And then they're like falling over.
Right.
So anyway, so he's into that 4 count in, 6 count out. And then he wants to introduce gratitude. Like, then he wants people just to come to a place where they can literally go back into something in the past, something or someone, so they can feel gratitude. He's not attached to it. He's not leading you at all. In fact, he's saying if you can think of 15 things and that's what you want to do, the whole purpose of this little exercise is that you would be filled up with gratitude in your body mind. So that's what he wants. He wants relaxing breath, and he wants that gratitude feeling. And I think I really understand now why the gratitude feeling can be so helpful. Because let's say that the heart wants to communicate to you that it's wrapped up in a feeling, like it's wrapped up in sadness, or it's wrapped up in grief, or it's wrapped up in anger. If you start from the palette of gratitude, it makes it so much easier for you to recognize, whoa, something changed. Like, I went to heart, got quiet, went to heart, chose to be with heart, and I'm angry. And now all that gratitude's anger. And then it's only for you then to say, oh, so heart, you're angry? You're managing anger, you're dealing with anger. It makes it so easy to figure it out if you start from a palette of gratitude. So I think was really good advice when he said that. And if the HeartMath Institute people figured that out, I think that, because what we're doing is we're trying to engage with ourselves. We're trying to engage with what's true and what's going on and what we're trying to work through. And so I think little techniques like that just make it way easier. So what I'd say is, if you forget the gratitude, if you just kind of went, but it's so easy for me to connect with heart right now. It's just so easy. Like I can just, okay, fine. So you missed the gratitude exercise. So you didn't need it that day. Okay, fine. Move forward.
Right.
Is what I would say. He didn't say that. So anyway, there we are doing our exercise. We're all doing our breathing. We're doing our gratitude piece. It's all beautiful. He's a wonderful teacher. And then he does something that I've never heard before. Now, maybe he's been doing this for the last 3 or 4 years in this exercise, but it's the first time that I heard it. And he gives us a statement, and it starts with my heart. Now, I've never heard him start the connection to heart with my heart. I've heard him just start with the question, what are you wanting to share with me? But today, or that day, it was my heart. What do you want to share with me today? My heart. And I really like that. Mm-hmm. I thought that was a really good elevation of really making sure that you're connecting into your heart. Right. Especially maybe if you're an empathetic person that likes to take on everybody else's stuff. It's like, no, I'm with my heart, my heart, my heart. So I was doing this exercise, following along in my kind of trance-like beautiful state, very relaxed in my gratitude place, coming into heart, making an intention choice to be with heart, which he says, if you need to put your fingers there, your hand there, knock yourself out, do what you need to do. I love him. There's no real rules. It's like, if you need to do it, do it. If you don't need to do it, don't do it. You know, do what you do you, right? In fact, I think he even said that on stage, do you, and I'll do me, right? So I love him. Yeah. So there we are, connecting into heart, and I'm asking that question, my heart, what do you have to share with me? And the answer comes back almost instantly. Now, what he says is, when you've done this exercise well, and you've got head connecting to heart, and you've done that really nicely, and you're breathing and calm, he said the answers come back, and they're simple. It's one word. Maybe it's a different emotion than gratitude. It's a sentence. It's not big, long paragraphs. It's not big, huge story. He says, if you get engaged with that, you're not with heart. You're back here.
Yeah.
You're still here. You're still in some level of mind. You haven't quieted the mind to come down here. So the answer that I get back when I ask my heart, what can you share with me? I get back, would you please get out of my way?
Sorry.
No, it's fine. But when I shared that with you the first time, you giggled, you laughed. That was your automatic response to that. Because it's kind of funny, right?
It is.
But my automatic response was very similar to the response that my girlfriend had when I told her the story. And her response was, oh. Like, oh. And that was exactly me. Like, when I heard that come through, when I felt it and heard it come through, I went, oh. And then it was instantaneous choice, like the instantaneous choice that I don't want to do that. I don't want to be in the way of heart. I do not want to do that. So it is my intention. Like, without me stating my intention was stated, I don't want to do that. I absolutely don't want to do that. So it is interesting, right? With all of our spiritual thing about world, when we want, my intention is, well, yeah, that's a way of saying it. A very nice, pristine way of saying it. My intention is this. And then there's another way. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I absolutely don't want to do that. I stop that now.
Right.
I stop that now. I get out of my heart's way. And all of that was intentional speak without me saying, I am intending to do this. I'm intending to do that. I was just intentionally speaking. And then, of course, I'm adding the word now, which is a beautiful decree. Now, not later, now. Like, I want to get out of my heart's way now. And then this beautiful, lovely energy just starts to come all the way down me. Like, I'm like, wow, something is flowing that had been stuck. And now it's flowing because I got out of heart's way. This is kind of cool that I'm feeling this. It wasn't dizzy at all. It was like something was disengaging and flowing down and down and down into the earth. And it was just happening. And then there was this other feeling that came about maybe even less than a minute later, which was this energy that was coming in from above and coming down into crown, down into the body. And then it hits heart. And then I have this moment, like it comes into heart. And then I have this moment. It's like, holy shit. I hope that's okay to say. Heart heals. Heart heals. Heart heals.
Yeah.
Heart heals. Just this knowing that heart is the healer. Heart is the way. Like, heart heals. Heart knows. I didn't hear that. That didn't come into me, and yet I knew it. I know it now when I say it to you. Heart knows. Heart knows how to take care of us. Heart knows how to take care of these things. Heart knows. Heart heals. Heart knows. Heart is. Heart is the place that we could go, that we could choose to go. We don't choose to go there. We choose, when we're healing, to stay here, to figure it out, to go to somebody else who's trying to figure it out. We choose to come here to work to figure it out. We want to get our brain, this brain, involved in healing when it's this brain
Right.
that does the
She's
healing.
putting her hands on her heart.
Right. That's what I'm doing right now. And a minute ago, I had my hands on my head. And that's not to judge the beautiful head.
We need that.
But then I have this like, wow, I have been doing so much of my healing work
With my head.
for myself and healing work with clients, using my head, going to classes, finding really amazing people that can teach me and help me and get me to understand difficult concepts and simplify them. And I have met some incredible people who are able to do that. Take complicated books and complicated concepts, just like Gregg Braden has done, and bring them down into something that's digestible and something where I say, my brain can understand this. And my brain can now deliver this out and explain it to somebody else and articulate it, because you, that person that understands all of that at that much more elevated level of intellect, have done an incredible job of bringing it into something that's simpler for me so that I can understand it, and then I can articulate it maybe to somebody else who either works at my brain level or works maybe at a little bit of something that's a little bit of less intellectual prowess with regard to anatomy or whatever that is. And isn't that great? And don't I love those people? But it's all brain. And then getting the brain to know that you don't heal without love. Getting the brain to know that you do not heal without connecting to that divine self within self. It's the divine self within self that heals. So there's no healing that happens. You can understand the moon, but there's no full healing that ever happens until you engage with that love, until you engage with that healing stream. And you can understand so much, but if you don't understand that foundational piece, you're not going to get it. You are not, because you are not engaging with the right stream to be able to heal anything fully. So I totally got that. I teach that. I say that. I want that. I want that from my head brain. I want it. I want it. I want it. I want to engage with it. I want to ask all the right questions. Is it safe, appropriate, and highest and best interest? Don't want to do things offside, blah, 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 blah. I got really good at doing all of that, really good at teaching all of that. And then there in that day when I'm sitting with Gregg Braden, my heart says to me, will you please get out of my way?
Yeah. Yeah. We make it so complicated.
And I have said for a lot, keep it simple, smarty, keep it simple, smarty. I mean, my motto kind of, even when I was teaching, keep it simple, smarty, keep it simple, smarty. What simpler way can we do this? Let's look for a simpler way. Let's look for a more delicious way. Let's look, right?
Yeah.
So when we're keeping it simpler, smarty, the simplest way to do any of this is to turn to heart. To be with heart. And so then I finished that class. There were all sorts of really cool things that happened in that class. I get home the next day. I'm sitting in my office. I'm staring at this really complicated book called Vibrational Medicine. And I mean, any page in that book can just spin you from a place of intellectualness or lack of intellectualness. And I'm saying to heart, I'm connecting to heart, and I'm saying to heart, all the stuff that's real and true in this book. Do you know what's real and true in this book? Yes. And all the stuff that you know that's real and true in this book, do you know all of that and more? Yes. And then I look at another book, which is Cindy Dale's, what I call the PhD Vibrational Medicine Manual, that if you were ever going to do a PhD class in energy medicine and vibrational medicine and light medicine, you'd want this book on your shelf. And I'm looking at that book and saying, heart, all the information that's real and true in that book, do you know this? Yes. Do you know more than things that are in this book about how we work at a light medicine level, an energy medicine level, a matter medicine level? And the answer is yes. And I'm just sitting there going, so you can manage me. You can manage me at the light level. Yes. You can manage me at the energy medicine level. Yeah. You can manage me at the matter medicine level. Yeah. You can heal at all of those levels. Yeah. You know more about me. Like then I started to really get interested. You know more about me as an energy medicine being, something that goes beyond chakras, something that goes beyond meridians, something that goes beyond outer meridians, something that goes beyond crystals in the muscles. You know things about me as an energy medicine being beyond all of those things. Yes.
Yeah.
Is there more to know about us as light medicine beings, as light beings, as energy beings than has ever been written in any book that humanity has ever landed on this planet? Yes. Well, okay then. Well, why would I not want to include you in
Everything?
My conference? Why would I not want to include you in anything? And absolutely, why would I not want to include you in any instance where something feels like it's off balance, not running in the right direction, not spinning in the right direction? Why would I not want to include you if you know all of this? Which means I know all of this. Through you and my connection to you, that means I know all of this. I don't know it from my head. It's available to me through what I'm calling the iCloud, because I believe that what that is my heart has an engagement with all universal knowledge and beyond. Like maybe the knowledge of not just this universe, but many universes, like the cosmos knowledge. Like my heart can access all of that, which means I can access it. Do I want to access all of that and then deliver it all to my brain? No. No, I remember I could learn that lesson. I could learn that lesson just by watching that movie, that Indiana Jones movie, the 13 Crystal Skulls movie.
Okay.
Search for the crystal skulls. I mean, there were 13 of them or whatever, and they were looking for them. And they ended up finding all of those skulls in the movie. And then the woman who's been working with Indiana Jones, she decides that now that they're all around in this circle, and then there's this giant monster crystal skull, she decides she's going to get into the center. She's going to be the receiver of all of the wisdom. And so she just does that. And people are trying to pull her back, and Indiana Jones, she just gets right into that middle. And the big crystal skull, now that it can be activated because of the placement of that final 13 skull, is now beaming information into her third eye. And she's just receiving it. And she's smiling. Oh, I understand that now. I understand that now. I get that now. And she's smiling and she's beaming and she's thinking, yes, I'm the one. I'm the one that receives all of this. I'm the one. And then it starts to get faster. And then there's just more. And then her hands are going up and she's going, no, 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 stop. No, no, it's too much, stop, too much. And then her head explodes.
Yeah.
Right. So I know that. I can learn from that. I can learn from that concept that too much knowledge coming in too fast, too much knowledge coming in that we don't really need to know is just then too much and can be real problems for the neurology, real problems for our nervous system. And, you know, our neediness maybe to be so brilliant or the crispiest chip in the bag or whatever, like our neediness to show up or our neediness to that greatness, maybe, can, I guess, maybe create the insanity or create the exploding brain. So we know it here. We have access to it here. We can know it through here, engage with it through here.
Again, she's pointing to her heart.
When we need to know it.
Right.
And it is the brain, it is the head brain that then becomes the receiver of that knowledge. Yeah. So rather than the head brain, left or right, being just the planner, the learner, the intellectual understander, the information just come in through heart to the head brain, to us.
Yeah, it's funny because that actually mirrors what Matt Hahn says as well, which he basically says, so our ego, and I think we can conclude that as much as of our brain as well, in our head, is that it's to receive and to respond.
Right.
And our heart obviously is, but it's to receive and to respond. And most of the time we're reacting because we're judging it and we're wanting it a different way or wanting it our way. So we respond, or we're reacting instead of responding. But the true purpose of our ego is to receive and to respond.
Well, so it's interesting because to me, I have said for years now that the ego in its highest place, so the ego is divine, it's a divine creation when ego is operating from its divine place within our consciousness and seating itself in its right kind of throne area. It is receiver. It is channel.
Yes.
It's channel. It is literally the channel. It is receiving what is going on. And I personally don't think that it is unless we've got our receiver, meaning our ego, absolutely unified with that divine self of us, like absolutely unified, then I don't think the ego should be responding. I see the ego as receiver. I see the ego as pure channel. And that its action is the receiver of the information. So even if we have the head brain receiving information, it's literally saying to the ego in the head, as I see it, letting it be the channel, that it would know itself as divine and it would know itself in divine role. And its divine role is to channel, is to be the channel, is to be the channel. Not the channel to maybe deliver out, just to be the channel, receive. receive this information. But it's almost like no action to be taken on this information until it has been received in and then, intermingled with what we're just going to call our divine light or our, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
So it's like ego. It's the more elevated way of ego knowing that it's one with all of this. It's one with all of this. So in being one with all of this, it isn't really ego anymore. Right? And so, yeah, it's just
but the ego is not to lead. It's just to receive.
No, it's not to lead.
Right. It's the heart's supposed to lead.
It's to channel in, it's to bring in, it's to receive in the information, receive it in. And it's almost like then it must surrender, then it needs to finally surrender it. Mm-hmm. But of course, if it doesn't have the software to be able to do that, if the software program just doesn't have ego even in relationship with our divine light, doesn't have ego in relationship with our divine self, then it holds on to it because it's only it.
Right.
There's no software for it to go anywhere. Mm. Anyway, that's an interesting that I've been dancing with that one for a lot of years, like giving, and it was only in the last couple of years that the word version, like instead of upgrading the ego, first upgrading the ego for it to know that it is divine. Right. You to be friends with ego, not judging ego, but you to be friends with ego and friends with middle self mind, which is the mind that engages with all the programming, that has always been working in unison with ego as a mind, but then to upgrade them so that they will know that they are divine. They will know that they can have conversation, connectedness with your divine self. They can stay at the table. Mm-hmm. They don't have to run out the door. When your soul enters the space. They don't have to say, "Oh, I'm not invited here anymore. No, love's here. Gotta go." Yeah, it's been interesting journey, but it's been in the last couple of years that the word version, a new version of ego. And I think it's the new version of ego that can take us the distance, that can go fully, that can release fully, that can heal fully, that can be part of the full healing. The new version of ego that can go along for the full ride. That full is a really important word. Mm. Yeah. The wholeness of me and the full healing of this, not the half healing of this, not the half-assed healing of this, the full healing of this. And there is no full healing of anything that does not involve, now I will change the wording, that does not involve your heart. So Gregg Braden brought forward something else. He brought forward something that was not really about, contextually about heart. He brought forward some information at the beginning of the day on the Dead Sea Scrolls. Now, he started to talk about the Dead Sea Scrolls when I was with him with 11 other people in a church in Witchwood, Aurora. Nice. Which was crazy. 11 people. The church must have been 105 degrees. It was like, why am I here? I can barely breathe. And he was talking about the Dead Sea Scrolls then. He was talking about the Shroud of Turin then. There was a lot that he was talking about then as I'm madly taking my notes. that he just kept saying, we don't know enough yet. We don't know enough yet. He's engaged with these things that we don't know enough yet. You know, the changing of the magnetics of the planet, so it's interesting now that we know the answers pretty much to everything that he said we don't know anything about, 30 years later. So he's giving us this information, and he says, there's now been a full translation of the Dead Sea Scrolls that they found in the mud, in the 1940s, I think the story was. And we've had a full translation of these for quite some time, like since 1997 or something. So he's giving us some pieces just in the morning to have us contemplate. And he says part of the translation in these Dead Sea Scrolls, he says it's speaking about humanity, speaking about 7 wars. 3 wars that would be won by darkness. 3 wars that would be won by light. And a 7th war that humanity would be in, where there would be no winning or losing on either side. That war would be completed through triumph. It was triumph. It was humanity triumphing that would be the closing or the completing of that war. And he says that the Dead Sea Scrolls literally said that humanity could not do this, that this would not happen. There would be no triumph until humanity had welcomed divinity back to itself, a connection with its own divinity back to itself in consciousness. And that it was through that reconnecting and that welcoming and that returning of divinity, connecting back to the human operating here on this earth, that would be how the human collective would triumph. Where there would be no judgment anymore of darkness or light, like they would be seen as unified, they would be seen as needed, necessary, there'd be no judgment, there'd be all of it would be understood, deeply understood. And I thought it was very interesting to hear that, because I have been changing my wording in my office when I've been working with people, where instead of just referring to divine intelligence, connecting with divine intelligence, connecting with love within, I have been using the word divinity. Connecting with your own divinity. What if there was a divinity? What if there was a divinity within you to engage with, and you have never done that or don't know about it? Like, what if that were true? And what if you could, just by saying yes, have that connection to that? So the reason why this little conversation becomes relevant to what we were doing before is I started to play with that concept when I was talking to Heart after I'd been at this conference. So I was saying to a client with their heart, asking the question of their heart, have you, so-and-so's heart, Matthew's heart, asking, have you welcomed their divinity into you? The heart saying no. Are you aware that there is a divinity that could be welcomed? Yes. Have you welcomed it? No. Would you be open to welcoming it? Instantaneous yes. Instantaneous yes. Are there any blocks, reversals, resistances, interferences, obstacles, invisible obstacles to your welcoming it? No. No. So could we do this? Could we do this today? Could we do this today? Yes. Would this be a good next step? Yes. Like big yes. So that choice is made. That person welcomes that divinity. The heart welcomes that divinity into it. Next question asked, heart, do we need to do this step by step for all the organs, all the other body parts, everything in the body of doing it? No. Are you taking care of this? Yes. So now that you've welcomed it in, you're just going to take care of ensuring that this divinity choice is now welcomed into the wholeness of this person. Is that correct? Yes. Is there any more that we need to speak about on this? No. So you're just taking care of that? Yeah. Now, does that not seem like a really cool step to take? If there's a 7th world war, even if it's a war within our own consciousness, where that is the way to finish the war, is through triumph, acceptance of your own divinity, and heart's just taking care of that. So you are then more fully engaged to be an active member, a participating active member, in a way that is going to ensure triumph. So wouldn't it be cool to get that message out to more people so that they could actually just sit with their own hearts and get their hearts to then welcome their divinity into them, into the heart, even if they have no idea what that means. If heart says yes, if heart says, yes, I will welcome it, I will welcome their divinity into me, I will do that. If heart says there's no negative problem here, there's no problem here, there's no downside here, if heart says there's no blocks, there's no reversals, there's no resistances, there's no obstacles, there's no invisible obstacles, there's no issue, it is the highest and best choice. Is it the highest and best choice? And I'm asking heart, is it the highest and best choice for all of us to get our hearts welcoming divinity into them? Yeah. Yeah, so it really just, like, when you actually sit with it and then you look at the things that have brought you into fear and brought you into paranoia and brought a whole country into that place, and you say, well, we needed that. We needed that. We needed that to fall just that way. Mm-hmm. We needed that to be just that way. We needed that much fear. More fear than last month. More fear than the month before. We needed more fear. Why did we need what? We just needed more fear. We weren't moving. We weren't shifting. We weren't getting to the point where we were having this conversation. So then, with more fear, maybe potentially comes more darkness becoming involved. To engage in more dark stories, or to engage in old dark stories that never got resolved, never got fully resolved. So let's just reach for more of those. And how many old dark stories that never got reconciled, never got resolved? Oh, well, let's reach for that World War II one. Oh, let's go reach back to that Crimean War one. Let's go reach back to that one that we were all fighting in 1522. That was a really rotten one too. That one never got fully resolved. Let's just reach into those ones. Let's just reach for things that bring us into more hate so we can have more demons coming into our world to be helpful to this. And it really is that simple statement. We needed that. We needed that to fall that way. We needed those people to get that upset, that distressed, that they were willing to want to live somewhere else. And then let's make sure that the whole world is taken over, so that then you go, there is nowhere else to live. But we want to live somewhere else because this is so uncomfortable. This is so problematic. And then we think, well, Elon Musk is trying to get to the Mars and they're doing some stuff on the moon. Maybe we can live in the moon, but we aren't making money like the billionaires. So we're going to need some money. We're going to need lots of money. How are we going to get lots of money to be able to get to the moon, get to Mars, get to some of these places? Because we don't want to live here anymore, because here's just been taken over. And I don't want to be taken over by AI. I don't want to be taken over by this. I don't want to be taken over by that. And it's just like, and then we get to yesterday. We've got the 1111 portal opening. And this beautiful path that's being revealed to humanity, this path to the new earth, the path of the new earth. And it's a path that is not the path that we've been stuck on, not the path that we've been engaged with. It's not the path that is connecting into so much fear and paranoia and victimization and blame and doubt and negative thinking and lower mind thinking. It's not that path. It's a different path. And it's beautifully, openly revealed yesterday. And how many people have just gotten to the place where going, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. I want to jump off a bridge. I don't want to be here. I can't be here. And this path opens. And how many people chose the path and are going to choose the path today? And are going to choose that path tomorrow. And even though it's unknown, and we're usually so afraid of the unknown, I don't care anymore. I'm just going to get in that path. I don't care anymore. I'll go into the unknown. The unknown's got to be a whole heap more better than this. I don't want to keep doing this. I don't want to keep doing this. And then we thank everything. We thank all the politicians. We thank all of them. In whatever mind frame they were in, we thank everything. We thank the demons. We thank the dark forces. We thank the entities. We thank the extraterrestrials. We thank everything. They got us collectively to just go, there it is, there it is, there it is, there's another, there it is, there it is, there it is, there it is. I saw it in my dream. There it is. I'm choosing that. That's my way out. That's another choice. And maybe we said, maybe in our soul playbook, it's written so that the guides will be able to see it in the playbook. It's written. It says, if we ever get to this place, if we've ever made all of the choices to get us to the place where we can come to this place where in an 11 level portal, we can literally in consciousness allow ourselves this other choice. Then if that day comes, I choose it. I choose it. So I'm letting you know, and I'm signing my little document in my playbook. I choose it. So even if I'm so screwed up down there that nobody's going to find me that day, nobody's going to tell me about the 1111 pathway, nobody's going to have a conversation about, I've chosen it now. So get me on that path. I have spoken, and I have written it down in my soul playbook. So I've given my permissions. I may not have been able to give my permissions on the day where the 1111 portal opens, but I've given it now. That is my choice. So if we ever get there, if humanity ever gets there, that is my choice. And I've chosen it now, in case it gets so freaking crazy that nobody could get to me. I was so locked up Nobody could get to me.
Yeah, it's a beautiful choice when the problem is that we didn't know, right? That is the problem, is that some of us just didn't know. And so it doesn't really matter, because once you make the choice, that timeline doesn't really matter, because it's still the choice, one of your heart, and moving on to that path of, I don't know, the 1111 portal is supposed to be about, I mean, whatever is supposed to be, the thing that we move towards, that whether we become enlightened, whatever that wording means that the spiritual community talks about so much, but it's really just the choice. It's saying, okay, do I want to continue in the muck, or do I want to make a different choice?
Yeah, but what I'm hearing is the thing, and I've seen it with myself previously. I've seen it with clients. I just even heard it with somebody this morning. The thing hijacking. I don't want to leave them behind. I want to go together. I want us to be together. I don't want to leave them behind.
Of course.
I don't want them here in this timeline while I'm walking here. I can't even see how that would be delicious, how that would be okay with me. How my heart would be that happy as I would like my heart to be, as joyful as I would like my heart to have, the joy that I'd like my heart to have, if all those other people that I love aren't coming with me.
Someone has to take their hand. Someone has to get there first, take their hand, and walk them with you.
Don't you love what I just said? If I could see that, I cannot tell you how many times that has been the truth, where people have put their permissions in their soul playbook for the day when it might come. When it might come, if we can get there, if humanity can get there. And humanity has gotten there. We have gotten there because in this 1111 time frame, there was a new choice on a new timeline that opened up. So humanity has gotten there. So if you're thinking that humanity is lost in just, no, humanity has gotten to the place in its elevated consciousness that this path has been created for it. Yeah, it just fills my heart to even say that out loud. The me that's, I can think about the prayers that I put out yesterday, the prayers that I put out, for the clients, for the students, for the friends, the prayers to their guides, to their angels, to tap them on the shoulder, to remind them in their dreams, and then to just kind of sit here with this, going, maybe I didn't need to take even a moment to stress about this. But that fear, that upset, that sadness, that grief, that feeling of failure, to think I'm leaving somebody behind. And not wanting to do that. And the person wanting to sacrifice themselves and stay back in the muck to try and hold that person's hand, to try and bring them forward. And who knows? What if we've been doing that for so long? You know, just for so long, staying behind for so long, just staying here so long, just not moving forward with that whole, we love them, we can't leave them. We love them, we have to go together. And what the heck do I know? Maybe we all went together. Maybe we all went together. Maybe everybody has said that so much in their consciousness that that's just now been now the way that we're all going together. And we all did. So, light of heart. I choose light of heart. So one of the things that I was saying to a client, was farming me some things yesterday, some thinkings, and I just literally sent back a message to say, is this thinking that you've just sent me, is this thinking coming from the light of your own heart? Is it coming from this place? And he almost instantly sent back a message because he knows how to find that place. And he almost instantly sent back a message and says, no, it's not. And I'd say, well, you have a choice. You have a choice. Are you going to follow this? Are you going to distract yourself? Are you going to follow this line of thinking? Are you just going to go there? You can engage with that. Do you want to engage with that? Or do you want to close the door with no judgment, no prejudice, no bias? Because this has been our habit. Close the door on that and open to connecting with the light of your own heart. And just choose that. So even if no new thinking comes in from that place, I'm choosing the light of my own heart. I'm choosing to engage and connect with the light of my own heart. And maybe if you have a minute, you can sit there and say, my heart, what do you want me to know today? And if you need to get to the gratitude place, and if you need to breathe to come into that calmer place, I also like to tell people, this polarity balancing posture that is a Tibetan posture from like 5,000 years ago is kind of nice, where you take your wrists and you join your wrists together, and then you just turn your wrists so that one of your hands is now clasping on your arm, and then the other one will. So you're just engaging your wrists. That's the important part, that your wrists stay engaged. It's a very nice way to bring you into calm. Balances the brains, balances the chakras, balances the 9 gates, balances things that your heart knows that are way more than I will ever know.
There you go. Nice.
And so he texted back and said, I'm choosing to connect to the light of my own heart. I'm choosing to close the door on that thinking and not distract myself anymore from that thinking, because I know it's not coming from the place that I want to govern my life from.
Nice. Wow. Powerful show. Again.
Well, it's kind of nice, right?
Yeah. All right. You've been listening to News of the Heart. We'll be getting the heart of what night with Tracy McBurney. Heart heals, light of the heart. I think that's the message. All right. Thank you, Tracy. We'll be back next month.
Very cool.